I've started to notice something with the cars community. There's a lot of cars customizers out there who make spectacular customs. For example, LB Productions, the Cars Shifter, Piston Cupster, and there are other several high-quality cars customizers out there. But there really aren't any tutorials on how to make one. So for this video, I'm going to show you a step-by-step tutorial on how to make a good cars custom with a shoestring budget. So let's ignore all this and move on to the tutorial. Now I know what you're thinking. Yeah, making a design can be difficult, alright? You can draw one out using a program or using plain old paper, alright? If you can't think of a design, look up a NASCAR or any type of car paint job you can inspire off of it. Now, I already finished my design. I want to thank David23 team for making this Lightning McQueen template, and let's move on with the diecast. Once you're finished with your design, you pick out the diecast you want. For example, I'm going to be using this leftover Lightning McQueen I've had for the past few months. You can also use any other diecast. In case you don't have a drill, that's completely fine. You can mask the tires with either a napkin or tape. I highly advise you have parent supervision with the drill because it is sharp material and I don't want you guys getting hurt. Once the car is fully taken apart, you can start with the sanding. I highly recommend using sandpaper. It's very good. Just rub it on the diecast softly, not too rough, because you want to make sure that the paint sticks onto the diecast. Because if you don't sand down your diecast, the paint can easily chip off. Alright, it's recommended to sand it down with either sandpaper, or you can also use a nail filer to get around those nooks and crannies that you can't reach. What I use to prime my diecast is apple barrel acrylic paint. Alright, it's recommended to use dark colors first, either black or gray. The apple barrel paint was from Walmart. Make sure you use a tiny paintbrush because, it's a tiny diecast. For this video, I'm just going to be using black. Now, I don't recommend dipping the paintbrush into the paint. I suggest opening the cap and using that to dip your paintbrush in. It's small, it's nice and compact, so you don't have to, keep dipping it. And it doesn't get your paintbrush all messy. Now, when you're applying the paint, make sure you're brushing lightly. You don't want to brush too hard, alright? You want the paint to stick nice and dry nice, alright? You don't want any rough marks or anything. Make sure to use both sides of the brush because, both get a good amount of paint. While you're brushing lightly, make sure you get every single spot on the diecast, alright? Be patient, alright? Patience is key for this. If you're impatient, you'll wind up, messing up. It's best to use acrylic paint and not spray paint, because spray paint is expensive. For the rear bumper, here's what I do. Instead of brushing left and right, I brush up and down. Well, mainly just up, to get all the nooks and crannies first. And later, once you're finished with that, you paint the rear bumper sideways. Make sure each coat dries correctly, and make sure to wash your paintbrush after each coat. The reason I choose acrylic paint than spray paint is because this shit happens. Yeah, when you spray too much, you'll either clump up or just completely do this. Blech. The painting process is exactly the same as the priming process. You pull out the main color of the diecast. I'm going to be using Cobalt Hue Blue. And, again, use the cap so your paintbrush doesn't get messy. And just apply a nice thin first coat. Once the coat is finished, be patient and let it dry. Once the first coat has fully finished drying, you can start working on the second coat. Same thing as last time. Brush lightly and make sure there are no scuff marks. Also make sure to keep having patience, because this shit takes time. Once that has finished drying, you can finally apply the final and third coat. Well, you might have to apply a fourth one just in case, but the third coat usually gets it done. Remember, brush lightly, have patience, and make sure there are no rough spots, alright? You don't really have to do this step, but I have this Crafter's Closet paint marker, and it's a very good silver marker. In case you can't find one, then a silver Sharpie can also work. For the rivets in the front, all I have to do is lightly press on each rivet. Make sure you aren't pressing too hard, but you have enough to paint each rivet. As for the rivets in the back, just draw in a straight line. Don't fuck up like how I fucked up like here in the beginning, but make sure you're nice and sturdy and everything is fine. I have to take the car off camera so I can do it myself because most of this is being recorded. You can also outline the hood with a black Sharpie if you want. Also, you're gonna use the same process for the exhaust pipes. Just make sure not to get anything else in the way and just color in the exhaust pipes normally. You don't have to color anything else. In case you don't have a printer, that's completely fine. You can sketch out your design and your decals on a piece of paper and color it in with the markers here and there. But what I do is I use Microsoft WordPad, pretty much the default WordPad that comes with your computer. You can also use Microsoft Word, Google Drive, or whatever. I prefer WordPad, it's a lot more easier and a lot more simple. I resize the picture to the correct dimensions. I learned this from, trial and error. It's recommended to print out a black and white test page to see if it fits. If it does fit, you can print a colored version. And if your printer's not being a stupid bitch, you can get your decals printed out and get ready to apply them. Be careful with cutting your decals because you don't want to hurt yourself. It's a pretty simple process. All you have to do is just cut around the decal you want to, apply and do the same for all the other decals. Now that you got your decals cut, now it's time to apply them. I use regular old glue. You can use a glue stick or a bottled glue, whichever one, they'll both work. Now, here's what I do. Pretty much I dip a little bit of glue on the spot where I want to put a decal on. And then I rub it with my finger all over the surface so the decal can apply nice and flush. You place the decal on top of the glue and press it down a little bit to make sure it sticks. You can remove any excess glue with your finger. You can only do this once, so make sure the decal is nice and straight and everything's all fine. But if you mess up, it's kinda okay. You can take out the decal carefully. If you're not careful, you might rip off the paint and have to redo everything again. Once the glue finished drying, you can now reassemble your diecast. Put it in the wheels first, as usual, then you put in the eye plate, depending if your car has an eye plate. Once you put the body back on the chassis, make sure you can hear a snap. That means the diecast is locked into place and doesn't fall apart when you lift it up. The way to take it back apart is by pushing the window down and it will pop out the base again. And voila, you have fully finished your custom car's diecast. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Please like and subscribe and watch some of my older videos. I really need those watch hours in order to get monetized, so keep making videos like these. And like I always say, have a good one.